Molly sighed. She should have been happy. It was her 18th birthday in a couple of days. She should be looking forward to the party and the alcohol and one of her final steps into adulthood. But truth of it was, Molly wasn't. Molly wasn't excited at all. She felt disillusioned with life. She was fed up with the constant demands in her life, either from school, from her mom or from her part-time job at the family restaurant. She just wished she could go back to simpler times when nothing really mattered other than playing games. She wouldn't tell that to anyone though. Oh no. That would be too much. Instead she would play her part in society, doing as she was told and towing the line, living on her daydreams of happier, more innocent times. She brushed a strand of her long brown hair out of her brown eyes and adjusted the black hair band that held her hair out of her face. An average-looking girl, of middle height, middle weight, and nothing stunningly gorgeous to look at. She wasn't ugly, not by a long shot, but she had a plain quality about her that just made most people ignore she was even there. Everyone with the exception of Jennifer and Sarah. Jennifer was about 4 months older than Molly. She had red hair that fell to just above shoulder height. It was often heavily gelled and spiked. Jennifer could be a bit harsh at times, often speaking before she thought. Sarah was the opposite. With blonde hair and blue eyes, she was about 6 months younger than Molly and was the cute one of the group. She was often quietly spoken and quick to get emotional. The threesome shouldn't have worked. It was still difficult to understand how they had come to be such firm friends. Perhaps the fact that they were each misfits to some degree. Either way, the three of them were very rarely seen parted. Molly wandered over to Sarah and Jennifer's table and placed their coffees and sandwiches down. Here you go, guys. Glad you both could come over and spend time with me at work. It's so dull around here. Time really drags. Jennifer picked up her hot coffee cup and blew gently on the contents. Don't mention it. It's not like we were doing much today anyway. Sarah nodded in agreement but didn't add anything to the conversation as she picked up her sandwich and tucked in. Molly smiled at her two friends. She was about to say something when one of her work colleagues came over. Hey, Molly. Once you're finished serving these customers, get some gloves and a mop and bucket will YA. A kid has peed in the ball pool again and it needs disinfecting. Molly sighed as she looked over at the restaurant's safe play area for children. So many times she was wanted to take a dip in the ball pool and mess around. Instead she was forced to clear the thing out whenever a kid lost a diaper or was sick. She nodded miserably. I better go, guys. She muttered apologetically at her friends and went to gather the cleaning supplies. An hour later she pulled herself from the children's play area. A strong smell of disinfectant wafted around the ball pool now that her job was done. She felt satisfied she had done a good job as she pulled off her yellow marigolds. She didn't enjoy her job, but she took pride in her professionalism. She wanted to show a girl who took her job seriously. Even the mucky parts. Her train of thought was suddenly brought back to the present when she realized someone was stood right beside her. She looked up, shocked by the smiling old woman stood beside her. Her shocked expression vanished as she recognized the strange woman that had been coming into the restaurant every day for the past week around lunchtime, like it was now. Molly had even gotten to know the woman a little bit. She was on holiday from Europe, visiting relatives, although Molly had never seen any of the relatives in here with the old woman. Oh, hello, Mrs. Murphy. Can I help you at all? Molly's mannerisms were always polite, even when she was feeling depressed like today. Mrs. Murphy just stared at Molly for a few moments. Molly wondered if the woman had even heard her question and was about to repeat herself when Mrs. Murphy spoke. Dear, I go back to Britain today, so I wanted to just pop in and give you something for being such wonderful company here over the past few days. Molly was stunned. She had been kind to Mrs. Murphy, but she hadn't expected to be rewarded for something that should be second nature to everyone. Oh, Mrs. Murphy, seriously, you didn't have to do anything for me. It was a pleasure being your waitress.